Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get started in just a moment, but we appreciate you being here. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get started in just a moment, but we really appreciate you guys joining this afternoon for this very important session. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get started in just a moment, but we appreciate you taking the time out of your afternoon to be here with us. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get started in just a moment. We apologize for the delay, but we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be here. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get started in just a minute, but we appreciate your patience. Thank you so much for being here. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We apologize for the slight delay, but we're going to get started in just a moment. We appreciate you being here and looking forward to having you join us for this very important discussion. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. We apologize for the slight delay, but we're going to get started in just a few minutes. We appreciate you all being here, and we're looking forward to having you join us for this very important discussion. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. We appreciate you so much for being here, and we're looking forward to you all joining us for this very important discussion. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another session of our Getting Back on Track Help is Here webinar series hosted by the U.S. Small Business Administration and the Public-Private Strategies Institute. It is now my pleasure to turn the program over to my colleague, Rhett Buttle.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Rhett Buttle. I'm proud to be here today as a small business advocate and president of the Public-Private Strategies Institute. We have an amazing program for you today. I wanted to take a moment to thank all of you who are attending. We're joined today by an audience of thousands of small business owners from across the country. And up on this virtual wall, you see there's an amazing set of small business owners and small business leaders, too many of them to name one by one, but who are working nonstop, I promise you, over the last year to make sure that small businesses survive COVID-19. As advocates and leaders in your communities, we know how important taking time away from your business is, so we are so grateful to have you with us today. Shortly after the Biden-Harris administration took office, the Public-Private Strategies Institute was proud to partner with the U.S. Small Business Administration to launch the Getting Back on Track series. These are educational events that help small business owners have the tools that they need to recover from the pandemic. The series is focused on helping them understand the benefits of the American Rescue Plan, provide pathways and access to capital, help them understand how they can be small business vaccine leaders in their communities, and take advantage of digital tools to help their businesses grow. Additionally, this series has been a great opportunity for small business owners to speak directly with their government and for their government to hear from them. To date, we've had almost 30 events, and we've reached over 100,000 small business owners, and we've heard from representatives from the SBA, from Congress, the Department of Commerce. It's an impressive set of leaders, but today takes the cake because we have an amazing power duo. Today, we are so lucky to be joined by the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, and the SBA Administrator. Today's conversation couldn't come at a more important time. Confidence in our economy is high, and everything is beginning to look stronger and better, but we know small business owners need a continued partner in our government. But no fear, two amazing women are on the job. The Vice President and the Administrator are both lifelong champions of small business. They both have been working hard to help small businesses recover from this pandemic, and are now working to secure the bipartisan infrastructure deal that was announced yesterday. This bipartisan infrastructure deal will make a significant impact in improving the lives of small business owners, their workers, and your communities. With that, let's get this program started. It's now my honor and my privilege to turn the conversation over to our amazing SBA administrator and a friend, Isabella Guzman. Administrator, over to you.
Thank you, Rhett, for partnering with the SBA on the Getting Back on Track series and for all that you do for small businesses. Also for gathering this incredible group of entrepreneurs and small business advocates. I know today's discussion is going to be great. We have a strong program with several special guests, including Congressman Jason Crow and our SBA team of dedicated experts, and of course, our Vice President, Kamala Harris. I've spent the past several weeks traveling around the country, meeting with small business owners. They've been reopening their doors and welcoming their customers back. And as the latest economic reports show, our economy is clearly on the road to recovery. From the restaurant owner in Las Vegas who has plans to open more locations across the state, to the music venue operator in Richmond who is once again selling tickets for live shows, small businesses are feeling more optimistic about the future. And it's thanks in large part to the billions of dollars in relief funded by the American Rescue Plan, which Vice President Harris worked so hard to get passed. At the same time, with the impact of COVID-19 still weighing heavily, many of our small businesses continue to struggle. After months of disruptions, increased costs and debt, there is still uncertainty, especially among our smallest businesses in rural and low-income communities and those owned by women and people of color. These entrepreneurs faced historic inequities and persistent barriers, which kept them from accessing early rounds of relief and other vital resources. That's why the Biden-Harris administration's focus on equity is so important. If our nation is going to recover fully, then we must give everyone with an idea or an entrepreneurial dream the tools and support they need to help build our reimagined economy. The SBA has scaled from a $40 billion portfolio to more than $1 trillion in relief, and we remain committed to delivering billions more swiftly and equitably. Today, you'll learn about our COVID economic injury disaster loan program, tax credits to help vaccinate your workforce, our PPP direct forgiveness portal for loans of $150,000 or less, and more. We are working to design and implement programs that are streamlined and accessible to meet our small businesses where they are. And the bipartisan infrastructure deal announced yesterday will be a game changer, providing unprecedented investments in infrastructure and enhancing our global competitiveness. In addition, the Biden-Harris administration's Buy American initiative, which includes a commitment to buy from all of America, will create important new opportunities and will build on efforts to increase federal contracts for small businesses with financing and business development support at the SBA. Small businesses are at the forefront of the Biden-Harris administration's Build Back Better agenda. As we know, they are our job creators and the giants in our economy. I'm honored to be joined today by Vice President Kamala Harris, who throughout her career has fought to strengthen small businesses, increase access to capital, and help all entrepreneurs thrive. She is committed to supporting the smallest of the small businesses through community lenders, which are a critical part of SBA's network. During the pandemic, they were able to provide billions of dollars in PPP forgivable loans to our smallest businesses, thanks to her advocacy. Small businesses are close to her heart, and I am so proud that we have a vice president who regularly takes time to meet with our nation's entrepreneurs to hear about their challenges, ideas, and dreams for the future. Everyone, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Vice President Kamala Harris.
Oh, thank you. Well, hello, everyone. Hello. I've been looking at you on this screen in front of me, and I want to thank you all for all the courage and endurance and commitment that you all have shown forever, but especially in this last year and a half. And it is great to be with all of you. I want to thank the Administrator, Isabella Guzman, for your kind introduction, but also for your leadership. She and I have had many conversations since the beginning of the first days of our administration, and you really are so committed and such a great and important leader, especially at this moment in time. So thank you all. Thank you all for your leadership and for being here. You know, when I look at you and when I think about who you are, it's clear you are not only leaders in business, you are civic leaders, you are community leaders, and you are our country's leaders. You know, I strongly believe that when someone starts a small business, it is a true act of self-determination. A small business owner must have a vision, and through hard work and support, realize that vision, which of course helps determine not only their future, but the future of their community. You know, just think about it. Small businesses provide almost everything that people need in their community, where they live, in their neighborhood, from the local dry cleaner to the local neighborhood restaurant to the small batch manufacturer. Small businesses create good paying jobs and in fact employ, I don't need to tell you all, nearly half of the private sector workforce of America. Small businesses keep our nation competitive. You know, the president and I spent a lot of time thinking about our relationship with our allies and even our adversaries around the world. And one of the great points of emphasis for us is that we must remain competitive. Well, you are a big part of the formula for how we will do that. All that to say, you do so much. So again, thank you. When the president and I first took office, one of our top priorities was to provide small businesses with relief. And I don't need to remind you guys of those days when we first took office and how folks were hurting and suffering, in particular, how our small businesses were going through so much pain through no fault of their own. But through our American Rescue Plan, we did what we intended to do in terms of relief to the tune of $60 billion. And as a result, so many small businesses have been able to reopen and stay afloat. In fact, we learned today, in the first half of this year, our economy has grown at the fastest rate in nearly 40 years. That's a good sign. And to build on this growth, our administration recognizes that small business owners need more than just relief. They need more than only relief. They need more than relief. And in particular, an area that I focused on, as the administrator has said, is on what small businesses need also in terms of access to capital, and an infrastructure that supports your growth. And so our administration intends to deliver on both fronts. First, on the issue of access to capital. So over the first 6 months, we have been in direct contact. And in fact, I've called and talked with some of the most active CDFIs or community lenders. CDFIs is the wonky term, but community lenders in our nation. And through these discussions and the work that I've been doing with Janet Yellen in our Treasury Department, we have begun to work on increasing community lending capacity, right? So they do so much, but we need to increase their capacity to do more. And as you well know, traditional banks, well, they've not always seen or understood the vision like a community bank can of, take for example, women, small business owners, or small business owners of color, or small business owners who serve local communities or low income communities. Community lenders, on the other hand, well, they understand the value in providing access to capital directly to communities. They often exist in the community, they live in the community, they understand the community, and in that way understand the vision and the ideas of the small business owners within those communities. Community lenders have an incredible capacity, therefore, to add value to those communities and by extension to our whole country. And that is why we must support these lenders and why that has been one of the areas of focus for us. Second, we will invest in the infrastructure that supports your growth. So we've had a lot of work that, as you all know, has been happening in these last 6 months to do just that. And there was a big vote last night. I'm sure many of you were tracking it. And this is all in the context of the work the President and I have been doing for months now with members of Congress on infrastructure policy. So yesterday, the Senate voted to advance a bipartisan infrastructure deal. And 67 senators voted in favor of moving the deal forward, Republican senators and Democratic senators. And the bipartisan infrastructure deal will improve the lives of people in our country and the strength of our small businesses. And I think I will speak for the President and myself to say it's a point of pride that it was a bipartisan deal, because I don't need to tell you all, small businesses, the contribution they make to communities and the challenges they face really don't have much to do with who they voted for in the last election or will in the next election. It has to do with what they need to do on the ground every day to actually be successful and add value to their communities. And why? I mean, if you think about the infrastructure piece of it and why the bipartisan work was important, well, infrastructure, it is more difficult to get your goods to market when our roads are crumbling. Infrastructure, why is that important? Well, it's more difficult for your customers to travel to your store when our transit, in particular, our public transit systems are failing. It is more difficult for small businesses to reach new customers when their internet connection is slow, or in many cases, and I know we have a lot of rural business leaders here, when that internet connection is slow or non-existent. So our infrastructure as a nation needs an upgrade. And the bipartisan infrastructure deal, for that reason, is, we believe, historic, because it will make a once-in-a-generation investment in our nation's infrastructure, positioning our small businesses to compete in the 21st century. And I'll share with you a quick story about an incredible business leader among the many. I've been traveling around the country meeting with folks. And recently I met a business owner by the name of Megan Kaiser. And she runs an agricultural lab in Bowling Green, Missouri. And we had a long conversation. But her family's business is at the cutting edge of precision agriculture and green farming. And her clients, therefore, are from all over the world. But she pointed out she's got a really big problem on the infrastructure point, which is she cannot get the internet at speeds that she needs to load soil samples for her clients. So literally, she's talking to customers or potential customers from around the world, and then she needs to send them her spreadsheet. She needs to send them information about what she's doing. And because the infrastructure around the internet is so slow, she can't upload what she needs to send them immediately. So, you know, what she said to me is, I want to be competitive. I feel that my business is a reflection of America's commitment to business and small business. And she basically let on that it's kind of embarrassing because she wants to be thought of, because she is a world-class business. But if she doesn't have the infrastructure to support what she is doing, which is running a world-class business, then what's that going to mean to the bottom line? So our nation's infrastructure must support businesses like hers and support the growth of all small businesses. And with that, let me just end where I began, which is the point of self-determination. I think it's such an important point. All of you have vision and you have drive. A strong sense of purpose often comes from within, as we all know. But it requires support from your family and your friends, support from your community, and you deserve to have the support from your government. So I want you to know that the President and I are 100% committed to supporting America's small businesses and small business owners. And again, thank you all for your leadership, for your courage, for your strength, for your vision. And I look forward to working with you as we go forward. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Well, that was amazing. Now you know what motivates me every day. I mean, this incredible incentive for helping our small businesses. And now it's my privilege to introduce two small business owners, Tiara Flynn and Walt Rowan. Tiara Flynn is an entrepreneur and an Air Force veteran from Las Vegas, Nevada. As president and CEO of Some New Marketing, a minority business enterprise originally launched by her father, it's a family business, Tiara helps fellow small business owners access the marketing tools they need to grow. She's won numerous awards for her efforts to partner with other minority business enterprises. And Some New Marketing received SBA assistance during the COVID pandemic through our PPP and EIDL programs. So welcome, Tiara. Please kick us off and share your question for the Vice President.
Thank you so much, Administrator Guzman. As a two-time SBA award-winning family-owned firm, we really appreciate you being here and the support that we've gotten over the years. Madam Vice President, I can't thank you enough for being here with us small business owners today. You mentioned access to capital in your remarks, as well as the administrator, and you work with, our community lenders. For many of us, especially those in the underserved areas, access to capital is crucial. Even before the pandemic, Black women entrepreneurs received drastically lower venture funding support on average compared to our white counterparts. And yet over 1.5 million businesses generating $45 billion in revenue are majority owned by Black women. As we move beyond the pandemic, how do you think about expanding access to capital for small businesses, and specifically as it relates to closing the gaps and disparities for Black women entrepreneurs?
That's a great question and a great point. So I'll tell you, first of all, here's how I see it. The pandemic really, in many ways, exposed the fissures and the failures and the fractures in our society and in our economy and in our structures and our systems. But I do look at that as also an opportunity that was created, right? Which is more people have been able to see the flaws that we have known have existed. And in that way, I think that there is a will, a desire, and a momentum to address that stuff and address it head on. And so let's think about it in terms of the context in which we now exist. I think of it as we are starting a new era, and a new epoch, a new, in many ways, beginning, but a beginning in that this is the moment to really leapfrog into where we need to be instead of thinking just incrementally about how we can progress. And in that way, then, with that sense of optimism, but also ambition, I think we have an opportunity to shape an economy of the future and to make it more inclusive, right? The president cares deeply about, let's build from the ground up. Let's build right from the middle out. But I also say, let's build from the outside in, right? Let's make sure that we are inclusive and bringing folks into these systems. And so for CDFIs, for community lenders, they are uniquely designed and exist. It's almost the culture of their businesses to really have an awareness and a sensitivity to see the vision of communities and then to help harness the talent and the ambition within those communities. And, for example, the place of my birth, Oakland, California, one of the small businesses, those that I've been visiting is the Rain Company. And there I met with a woman who started a catering company, like many restaurants and caterers in their own kitchen, right? And then wanted to build on that and get an industrial size apparatus. And so she had the ambition and she went to a community lender to invest, knowing that catering company in that place actually was something the community wanted and would support. I met with and talked with Ona Leeboy, who is a Native American entrepreneur who is investing in a quilt business, knowing that the community actually, quilt ceremonies and quilts are very important to the community. It's something people want. And she was able to go to a community lender to get that kind of support because the community lender understood what the community wants and understood her vision then. So that's the work that we need to do. And in fighting for small businesses in particular, again, understand that one of the keys for folks to not only open a small business, but grow a small business, equally important, is access to capital. And so our Build Back agenda basically is designed to invest billions of dollars to support small businesses around access to credit and funding, of course, and research and development, which so many businesses need to do to, again, grow. And we're also putting resources and money, significant money, into creating incentives for venture capital investment. And that's all on top of the $60 billion that we did in the American Rescue Plan and with the PPP to address the support that folks need. But again, as I said in my comments earlier, not only on the piece about relief, but what we need to do to leapfrog into where our system could actually be better than it was before. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, and
Thank
looking
you.
forward to the future work.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Madam Vice President, for that response. I think that you've nailed it. I mean, capital is going to lead to opportunities for our small businesses. And now we have Walt Rowan joining us. He's an entrepreneur from Columbia, Pennsylvania, which is a borough in Lancaster County that was once just a few votes shy of becoming the new United States Capitol, I've learned today. So Walt is the president of Susquehanna Glass, which is a family-owned and operated glass decorating business started more than 100 years ago by his uncle and grandfather with a single glass cutting machine on the banks of the Susquehanna River. So Walt has led the growth and expansion of the business to include extensive work in product development and sourcing. And he's proud to offer as well the Made in America sticker on most of his products and programs. Susquehanna Glass also received crucial relief during the pandemic from the SBA's PPP program. So welcome, Walt. Great to have you here. Please share your question for the Vice President.
Good afternoon, Madam Vice President. It is an honor to be speaking with you. My name is Walt Rowan. I am the owner of Susquehanna Glass in Columbia, Pennsylvania, and I'm a member of the Small Business for America's Future Small Business Council. We are a family-owned business that has been in business for over 111 years. We employ a little over 60 people. 50% of those are women. The pandemic has affected a majority of small street business owners, including myself. And infrastructure is so important to our work to recover from COVID-19, not just through the bipartisan infrastructure deal of new roads and bridges, but also through the broader investments in family supports like childcare you spoke to in the Build Back Better plan as well. My question is, small businesses are the heartbeat of our economy and our communities. Sometimes it feels like policymakers just don't hear us. How are you to make small businesses have a voice in your efforts?
That's great. Well, first, let me congratulate you and your family, Walt. That's incredible. And I'm sure you've got a lot of lessons learned, and I'm sure you're by virtue of being with this group, sharing it with everyone. I'd like to hear some of the lessons learned so that I can make sure that our policies are reflecting those lessons as well. But here's how I see it, and I hope that this is something that I can say over and over again to as many people as possible. I believe that our small business owners are pillars of the community. I know small businesses. I grew up in neighborhoods of small businesses. You are not only business leaders, you are civic leaders. It is our small businesses that are supporting the local Little League team, that are hiring locally, that are role models for the young people in the community. You are the ones where, whether it be a restaurant or a dry cleaner, or you name it, where, folks can go and their names. And if they're having a bad day and they walk in, you can kind of sense it and say, hey, how you doing? I mean, absolutely. Really, small businesses are so much, not just intertwined, are so much the part of the fabric of communities, the culture of communities, the heartbeat of communities. I love our small businesses. It's, and not to mention, not only in terms of the heartbeat and the soul of and the culture of the community, you are part of the heartbeat and the infrastructure of our economy, So for all of those reasons, we have to see, highlight, uplift the stories and the role of our small businesses. And, you know, at its core also, I do feel very strongly that government should be in the business of encouraging and rewarding self-determination, right? And self-determination, in my mind, is as much as anything about encouraging people to have a vision and to actualize that vision, encouraging people to have choices and exercise those choices, to make decisions about their lives, to act on, right, good ideas. And that's as much as anything what you and what everyone as a small business, what you do. Again, in addition to employing half of the private sector workers in America. So we're making sure that small businesses have a voice. And in large part, that's about making sure that we are listening. And I'll tell you, the first event that I did when we came into the White House was with small business owners. My first visit, leaving this place and getting out there was with small businesses. In fact, I'll tell you, I don't know if she's on it, but one of the first small business I visited, a place called Fiberspace, just in Virginia, and it's a small business that it's basically for crochet and knitting and beautiful yarns, and I'll use that business as an example of what I'm talking about. I visited there 6 months ago, so it was still while we were really feeling the effects of the pandemic. And her small business is a place that people could go. And she would talk about their craft, and she would talk about, then by extension, their dreams and their lives and their families, you know? And so anyway, we will continue to advocate for you, for all of our small businesses. And of course, as I said earlier, there's $60 billion in the American Rescue Plan, working with Secretary Yellen on CDFIs and doing also more to as the conversations I've been having with CEOs of the big corporations like JP Morgan and Bank of America, to talk with them as I've been about not only what they can and have the capacity to do around PPPs, but again, the piece that's about the private equity component of community lending. So thank you. And again, congratulations to your family for your success.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Vice President. And if you keep listening, we certainly have plenty of stories to tell.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Great. Thank you.
Well, let me add my thanks to you, Madam Vice President and SBA Administrator. This has been an amazing conversation. There's so much going on right now with the infrastructure deal. The fact that you took this 30 minutes to be with us means so much to our community. But we also want to let you get back to work to get that infrastructure bill passed. So we appreciate you being with us. Thank you so much on behalf of all of this amazing group of small business leaders from across the country.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, it's now my pleasure to turn the conversation over to my colleague, Renee Johnson, who will kick off the Getting Back on Track tour. Renee, over to you.
Thank you so much, Rhett. And we're so excited to continue the conversation about getting back on track. Help is here with our webinar series. And this week we are focused on the Rocky Mountain region, which is comprised of Colorado, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Utah, and Wyoming. Now, if you're not from this region, that's okay. The information is for everyone throughout the United States, but we do have our special guest for the end of the program, which will be Congressman Jason Crow from Colorado's 6th Congressional District. So without further ado, let's go on to that next slide, which is going to talk about that Q&A function that many of you are already using. We want to go ahead and let you guys know that if you have additional questions, continue using it. We have some people from the SBA that are going to start answering some of those questions, getting some answers for you. We want to put out there and let you all know, by any means necessary, we do not want you to put any personal information in that chat function, okay? So please do not put any application code numbers. Please do not put your cell phone numbers, names of businesses, because we will not answer any specific questions. They will be general. Let's go on to that next slide. So next we are going to talk with the amazing Victoria Hu-Ken. She is the Senior Advisor of the Office of Capital Access, and she's going to talk to you about the COVID EIDL program, which is a loan program that the SBA is offering. So without further ado, we're just going to hop right into it, and we're going to go straight on into Veronica.
Thank you, Renee. We're just getting set up here. Thank you, Renee, for the introduction, and thank you all small business owners who've attended this conversation. It's a real pleasure to be in this conversation to share more information of specific resources that the SBA is offering today that align with what the Vice President communicated our priorities for the Biden-Harris administration in supporting small businesses as small businesses continue to move on the path toward recovery, with a particular focus on access to capital. Kind of the access to capital point that the Vice President and the Administrator highlighted are critical to supporting small business needs today, and I'm excited to highlight a particular program that fits within that category. And so that program is called the COVID EIDL program, the COVID Economic Injury Disaster Loan. It is a federal small business loan program designed to support small businesses as you continue, as mentioned, to recover from the COVID-19 induced economic recession. We will have a couple more webinars next Monday that you can join, that we will spend an hour going through the details, the mechanics of the program, how you can apply, who's eligible, just learning more about that. And we'll have a half-an-hour Q&A so you can get a lot of your questions answered. Just for today, I'll give a very high-level insight on this program and some improvements we've been making. As mentioned, the COVID EIDL loan program is a small business loan. It is a borrower-friendly loan with terms that are meant to meet the reality of small business today, which is that a lot of small businesses are still recovering, as was already highlighted by our speakers earlier today. And so the terms of this are an interest rate of 3.75% for small businesses, a repayment period of 30 years, and extending that over that horizon makes your repayment rate lower than other market options would allow for. You can defer those payments for 24 months, and you have flexible use of funds. So you can use these loan funds on any business normal operating expenses and working capital. We know that that flexibility is really needed by small business today, as you're looking for ways, being creative, being resourceful. And so this loan program is meant to help you in being creative and resourceful and provide fewer restrictions on the use of the funds. You can apply for this online at sba.gov/EIDL. And again, you can join the webinars next Monday at 12 and 6 p.m. Eastern. Just a couple points to highlight. And I know, again, we've sped through the terms of the program, but if these at a high level sound particularly interesting to you, you can apply today, and we're excited to share some processes that will make the application process smooth. In the past, the COVID EIDL program has received significant demand that the SBA as an agency has needed to invest more resources and for us to meet the demand. And so I'm excited to say, as a member of the Office of Capital Access, that we have invested in improved processes, more personnel, so that we can meet your needs and meet the demand for this program. Some of those processes have entailed transitioning the program to the Office of Capital Access, as I mentioned, increasing personnel and increasing the review productivity so that we can get through many applications each day. We are excited to share some results. Not only have the process been improved, but we're seeing the impact of that. On June 28th, we were able to review less than 2,000 applications a day. And I'm excited to share that just yesterday, July 28th, so a month later, we were able to review over 37,000 applications. So going from less than 2,000 to 37,000 shows that we're improving and able to handle the demand. And so if you're out there interested in this program, you can apply today. We are ready to receive your application. And the final point I'll highlight is that this program has taken seriously the values articulated by the Vice President and the Administrator consistently since entering office around equity and accessing communities or promoting access for communities who historically have not always gotten that for these resources. And so we have invested in a full-scale outreach effort to target communities that were not, as mentioned, given as much access to these resources historically. So just this week, we've wrapped up and had the real pleasure to partner and share conversation on this with the U.S. Black Chambers, the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the National Asian American Chamber of Commerce, the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce, and looking forward to on Monday engaging with self-employed and community colleges and Rural Innovation Chamber. And those are just some examples. There are numerous other entities that we are launching this full-scale outreach effort to make sure that all communities have the information they need to access these resources. So with that, if there are these are some links you can access, and next Monday, 12 and 6 p.m. Eastern, we can dive into more detail on this program.
Thanks so much, Veronica, for that. And I know people, again, you can register by emailing us here at Public Private Strategies at events@publicprivatestrategies.com to get registered for the event on Monday, either at noon or 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can always review a previous COVID Idol webinar at our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/public-private strategies. And so now if we go to the next slide, we're going to go into more specifically with this part of the program, what businesses needed with their financials and resources. 9 out of 10 firms sought some type of emergency funding to help them meet their financing challenges during the pandemic. And more specifically, 82% sought a PPP loan. We're going to touch on today how that forgiveness works and even that new portal that some of you heard about last night. So today we're going to talk about relief options available to your business, vaccinations, and then also taking your business digital. So I'm really excited because we have with us today Amy Lee, who is the acting regional administrator for the Rocky Mountain region. Amy is the U.S. Small Business Administrator, District Director for Wyoming. And in this role, she helps Wyoming small business owners start, grow, and expand by connecting them with the agency's funding, counseling, and training. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Amy. And I'm so excited to hear from you, Amy.
Thank you so much, Renee. It is truly an honor to be part of this webinar, along with Vice President Harris, Administrator Guzman, you and your team at Public-Private Strategies Institute, and our other distinguished colleagues and guests. During the next few slides, we will share some tips about programs and resources that might help all of you. Even more importantly, we will connect you with our colleagues in district offices and at our trusted SBA resource partners along the way. Next slide, please. If you operate a business in the live entertainment or restaurant industry, this crisis over the last 16 months may have been especially devastating to you. So I want to briefly mention 2 ways SBA has offered assistance. The Shuttered Venue Operators Grant Program was established by the Economic Aid to Hard-Hit Small Businesses, Nonprofits, and Venues Act, as amended by the American Rescue Plan Act, and $16.2 billion were appropriated to the program. Earlier this week, SBA announced that it had hit the milestone of awarding over $7.5 billion to Shuttered Venues Operators Grants to more than 10,000 small businesses, nonprofits, and venues, more than 2/3 of which had fewer than 10 employees. This program is still accepting applications. So if this sounds like something that might benefit you, please apply today. Don't wait. Although funding is now exhausted for the second program on this slide, the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, it has truly been a lifeline for so many restaurants, food trucks, caterers, and other eligible small businesses. This $28.6 billion fund helped more than 100,000 small businesses. Approximately $18 billion in grant awards went to underserved populations, and $5 billion was prioritized for restaurants with gross receipts of $50,000 or less. Next slide, please. As has been mentioned, through the Paycheck Protection Program, the SBA and our lending partners have worked to originate over 11.7 million loans, totaling nearly $800 billion in relief to over 8.5 million small businesses. In 2021, 96% of these loans went to businesses with fewer than 20.
We apologize for that technical difficulty. Victor will be taking over for Amy as we understand that there are Wi-Fi challenges. Victor?
Great, good afternoon and thanks. I'll be more than happy to help out well until we get Amy back. And so as she was indicating, our Paycheck Protection Program has a lot of forgiveness features that we are navigating. And so we want to make sure we kind of run through what that forgiveness process looks like. So step one is to make sure that you contact your PPP lender directly to complete the form that needs to be submitted. Number two, make sure you get your documentation compiled. And so we want to make sure that you can document how those funds were used in terms of making your payroll and paying those qualified expenses that we discussed during that Paycheck Protection Program period. Making sure you get that form, step three, documentation back to your lender along with that form, and then finally communicating and closing that loop with your lender. We are so excited to announce that the simplified forgiveness for PPP recipients of $150,000 or less, if your lender opted in, will be done where you can then apply directly for forgiveness, and it's a much more simplified process. So we encourage you, if you are a PPP recipient and you received $150,000 or less, please reach out to your lender to see if they've opted in or will opt in to the simplified forgiveness process, because that's going to be so critical to moving that forgiveness process forward and making sure we're continuing to be as supportive as we can and responsive to your needs. Next slide, please. So SBA funding programs, we have a variety of SBA funding programs that are designed to meet you where you are. These include not only our loan programs, where you may often hear about us talking about the 7A loan program, or you may hear us talking about the 504 loan program. These loan programs are designed not only for working capital, but as an example, the 504 program is designed for your capital equipment, some of your fixed assets that you may be looking for, and more importantly, your commercial property. So if you're a manufacturer, a small manufacturer, you may want to buy heavy equipment or buy the building. So we have a variety of different programs to meet you where you are. We also have investment capital. We have our SBIC program, where you can actually get equity investments that are guaranteed through the SBA as your silent partner for you to make those investments into your business. We also have disaster loan programs, our surety bonding program, as well as a variety of different grants to help specific scientific and innovation programs that you may be doing for your business as you start and grow. Next slide. So as I indicated, our 7A loan program, 504 are microloans. Again, we're here to design loan programs to meet you where you are. So as an example, our 7A loan program is a guarantee program with capped interest rates that you will be able to navigate going forward to help you with that working capital program. Next will be the 504 loan program, where you have a long-term fixed finance rate that you'll be able to navigate when you're looking at buying equipment, real estate, or machinery. And then the third program is our microloan program. The microloan program is, again, something where you're starting your business, your smallest possible loan program for $50,000 or less. And it's a great way to start building your business credit. And so our microloan programs are done through community-based organizations that are engaged not only with you as the pillars of our community, as Vice President Harris just talked about, but it also provides that technical assistance to help you grow your business and start leveraging various capital programs to grow your business credit. Next slide. Lender Match. This is absolutely the greatest tool to connect you with all the different lenders that SBA has. SBA has thousands of lending partners across the country. And so Lender Match is a tool that will help you match yourself with the correct lender. So our lenders are ready and poised to help you, and this will tell you what kind of appetite that particular lender has. So what will happen is you log into Lender Match, answer some questions, talk about how long you've been in business, how much money you're looking for, and what you would be using that money for. And then those lenders that are engaged in that particular market or have an appetite for that type of loan will reach out to you. So it kind of saves you from that lender fatigue and really puts you directly in contact with our tremendous, great SBA lending partners that are across the country. Next slide.
Victor, I think I might be back.
That is awesome, Amy. Well, you can pick up at disaster relief, and thank you all.
Yes, thank you very much. And it just goes to show how important that infrastructure, including rural broadband connectivity, is out here in Region 8. So let's talk a little bit about disaster relief. There's been so much focus on specific type of disaster relief, especially the COVID EIDL loans that Veronica explained earlier, that I wanted to make sure we were aware of other types of disasters too. We currently have active drought disaster declarations for at least some counties in nearly every state here in Region 8. There are significant wildfires burning in the West, and when disasters like wildfires or flooding strike, there is a process by which presidential or agency disaster declarations can be made. When this happens, if your business is located in a declared disaster area and you have suffered substantial economic injury, you may be eligible to apply for an SBA disaster loan. Next slide, please. If you have a growth stage business and are looking for a combination of equity and debt investment, SBA's Small Business Investment Company, or SBIC program, may be the right fit for you. Think of the SBIC program as SBA's venture capital fund of funds. It's a fantastic example of a public-private partnership to increase investment in small businesses. SBICs include venture capitalists, private equity funds, and other vehicles, and they are licensed and regulated by the SBA. SBA issues debt to the SBICs, and they in turn invest their private funds and SBA funds into small businesses that are scaling up, innovating, and creating jobs. Next slide, please. Government contracting is also a key component of SBA's mission. Yesterday, the SBA announced that the federal government exceeded its small business federal contracting goal for the last fiscal year, awarding 26.01% or $145.7 billion in federal contract dollars to small businesses, a $13 billion increase from the previous fiscal year. This added almost 1 million jobs to the American economy through these prime contract dollars and $82.8 billion in subcontracts to small businesses. This brings us to surety bonds. If your business performs any type of government contracts in the construction industry, you may already be familiar with surety bond requirements and our program. A surety bond is an agreement between the small business, project owner, and a surety company, and the bond guarantees that the work is performed in accordance with contract terms and that subcontractors and suppliers are paid. In a process similar to the agency's loan guarantees, SBA offers surety bond guarantees that allow more small businesses to qualify for them. Surety bonding will surely become especially important as Congress and the administration continue to work together on plans for new infrastructure to build back better. Next slide, please. For small businesses and the lenders that support them, becoming an active participant in the $80 billion global trade economy is a tremendous growth opportunity. 95% of the world's consumers and 2/3 of purchasing power are outside of the United States. And the SBA has a national network of SBA finance managers who help lenders and borrowers access these programs. There's a new opportunity for even more businesses to get involved because during COVID, so many businesses learned how to sell their products and services online or from a distance, and this positions them really well to sell overseas. SBA offers focused technical assistance with exporting through the State Trade Expansion Program, STEP grants, a partnership with states across the country that enables businesses to learn how to export, obtain services to support foreign entry to markets, and participate in foreign trade missions, even online. Next slide, please. STEP grants can also help small businesses to design international marketing products or campaigns, translate products and materials to attract foreign buyers, and develop e-commerce enabled websites. Go to sba.gov/step for more information. Next slide, please. Throughout my presentation, I've highlighted our SBA resource partners, including small business development centers, women's business centers, veterans business outreach centers, SCORE, and our STEP grant partners, many of which have joined us today. Here are links to many of them. If you are a business owner and haven't worked with our partners yet, reaching out to them might make the connection that could really help make the difference in leveling up your business. To find them, use the links on this slide or go to sba.gov and click on the local assistance menu on the top right. This will bring up options for you to search for the closest SBA district office, SBA resource partners, and more. Next slide, please. And speaking of our SBA resource partners, the Biden-Harris administration and congressional leaders have supported a $100 million investment as part of the American Rescue Plan to establish a community navigator program for individuals with disabilities and minority, rural, and other underserved communities across the country. SBA has already issued a grant opportunity and has received many proposals. So watch for more information to come on SBA's newest resource partner pilot program in the coming months. Renee, I know you are as excited about this program as I am. Now that we've covered many of SBA's programs and services for small businesses, I want to turn it back to you because I know you have more exciting information to share.
Yes, Amy, that is right. And if we go to the next slide, I know we talked about the SBA, but there are private sector supports as well. And you could just do a simple Google search and you could find some. Just be careful to do your due diligence because there are predatory loans and predatory companies out there. So you want to make sure that you are not falling prey to those who may cause you harm. Next slide, please. And then also state and local governments. You want to check out your local Office of Economic Development and Department of Commerce in your local communities or state to see if there are opportunities to see if they have programs to help you have relief from the impacts of COVID-19. Next slide, please. We're going to go into a conversation now about vaccines. As you know, the CDC has brought out new guidance. And so we're just going to talk very briefly about that. So we're going to go into the next slide. Majority of small business employers say it's very important that their employees get vaccinated. And we want to make sure that you are providing your employees the correct information. It is very, 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 very important to stay diligent and making sure you check with the CDC and your local governments to understand the guidance that they do. Next slide, please. Small business employers are engaging their workers on vaccines as their families and communities and making sure that they're providing this information like we said. And if you want to go on to the next slide, we want to make sure that you create a plan that's going to help you, allow you to operate at full capacity, bring back customers, and also reduce staffing issues caused by COVID-19 exposures and infections. Next slide, please. So creating this vaccine plan, it's going to be great for you, regardless of the size of your business. Again, we want to reiterate that you check with your state, local, and also the CDC as guidance continues to come out each day, and develop a plan that works best for you. Consider tax incentives. There's the new paid leave tax credit for employees to get their shots and recover from the side effects. Next slide. And also there's some resources, and we're going to also send you this PowerPoint so that you're going to be able to use these links to use these resources to help you develop those plans. But what I want to highlight is that the Department of Health and Human Services has the We Can Do This, which has toolkits for you to use to help develop those plans. Next slide, please. So again, there's amazing tax credits. We have them here for you to go through, but one thing we want to highlight is if you make the decision to go forward with a tax credit, be sure to consult a tax professional in order to take advantage of these valuable valuable credits for your business. And we can click through the next few slides because we want to make sure that you guys actually go back one, learn more about them, and you can go to irs.gov, newsroom FAQs for the employee retention tax credit under the CARES Act. And then you can also go to the irs.gov employer tax credits for employees paid leave due to COVID-19. And again, consult your tax professional before you take advantage of these plans. Next slide. And now we're going to talk about taking your business on digital platform. Next slide. A recent McKinsey survey found that small business owners are now 3 times more likely than before the crisis to say at least 80% of their customer interactions are digital. And doing so, they're using more web presence for awareness, they're doing e-commerce capabilities, and digital fulfillment where there are no touch when possible. Next slide. And we want to make sure that you're able to take your business digital because COVID is not over. We are seeing the Delta variant coming through, and we want to make sure that you're safe and that you're taking your business digitally because we're not sure what are the next steps. In the CDC, like we just said, is coming out with new guidance every day. So we want to make sure that you're taking the precautions that you need. So making sure you have a website. Do you have ways to receive payments digitally? And can you do no contact transactions and fulfillments? And with that, we're going to go over to the Rocky Mountains district. Next slide, please. And I'm so excited that the congressman has joined us. And so, Amy, I would love for you to introduce Congressman Crow.
It would be my honor to introduce Representative Jason Crow, Congressman for Colorado's 6th District here in Region 8. Representative Crow is a former Army Ranger and lawyer who worked his way through college before enlisting in the Army and serving our country in Iraq and Afghanistan. He was named Denver's Pro Bono Lawyer of the Year for his work helping service members transition from military to civilian life. He serves on the House Small Business Committee for the 117th Congress, including the subcommittee on underserved, agricultural, and rural business development. Your advocacy is so important to our small businesses here in Region 8, and we are delighted to have you join us today. Welcome, Congressman. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. It's really a pleasure to be with all of you, and I will apologize in advance why I'm wearing these headphones and not in my usual office. We're in the middle of a long vote series in the House of Representatives, and I'm joining you from my phone from the Rayburn room just off the floor of the Capitol. So I appreciate your patience and your flexibility here. So good to join all of you, the SBA and the Rocky Mountain region. You know, the COVID-19 pandemic inflicted a once-in-a-lifetime economic shock on our nation, unprecedented for all of us joining here today. And I know I'm preaching to the choir when I say the small businesses that make up the foundation of our economy were particularly hard hit. The small businesses employ over 1 million Coloradans and make up 97% of the businesses in our great state of Colorado. So that's why I introduced the Increasing Access to Capital Act last Congress, which would make it easier and faster for small businesses to get a loan during the coronavirus pandemic. Fortunately, components of this bill were included in the omnibus spending bill last year. Despite critical government efforts, nearly 200,000 businesses that closed their doors during the pandemic may never reopen. And these businesses were more than just storefronts. They were entrepreneurs, livelihoods, they were job creators, they were pillars of our community. They are the places where we've spent our times, where we take our kids and raise our families. So as we work towards a full recovery from the pandemic, we're going to have to fill the void that these closures created. Both help get these businesses open, but also create new ones as well. Unfortunately, we're amid a decades-long decline in entrepreneurship rates across the country. In 1982, new firms constituted 38% of all businesses, but fell to only 29% in 2018. In recent years, the rate at which firms were exiting the market outpaced the rate at which the firms entered the market. So this decline in entrepreneurship stems from a variety of different factors. The economic crisis, like the Great Recession, decreased overall demand and created a tightened lending environment, hurting business startups. We also saw we were seeing high amounts, record high amounts of student loan debt, fewer employment opportunities, increasing consolidation of businesses that have led to low entrepreneurship rates among millennials in particular. So millennials are on track to be the least entrepreneurial generation in history, with startup rates well below baby boomer and Generation X counterparts. Now, I know this isn't because they don't have great ideas and don't want to start businesses. It's just because of barriers that they're facing that prior generations haven't faced. So we have a job in front of us to make sure we're reducing those barriers and releasing that innovation and that spirit that I know younger generations have. So simply put, we're staring down an entrepreneurship crisis in the country that has the potential to delay the very recovery that we've prompted and we've put on the right track. So we cannot allow that to happen. Moreover, the decline in business startups is also going to lower productivity, hamper the creation of new technologies, and slow overall job rate growth in our nation. So I think we can all agree that this scenario is just not acceptable. So instead, we need our economy operating at maximum strength. Congress needs to consider how we can help reverse the decline in entrepreneurship. So this is going to mean examining existing programs. It's going to mean considering new initiatives to produce an ecosystem that is more favorable for entrepreneurs and subsequently drives economic growth. So one proposal is my bipartisan bill called the Next Generation Entrepreneurship Core Act. This is both a bipartisan and a bicameral effort. So it's in the House and the Senate. My bill seeks to accomplish two main objectives. First, entrepreneurial inclusivity and increase entrepreneurship in distressed regions in particular. A program utilizes a tried and true model based on programs with a track record of impacts like Teach for America and Peace Corps. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We're using things that we know work. America's entrepreneurship slide is just a crisis that we cannot allow to have happen. So the need is urgent. We know we don't have a lot of time and we have to get things back on track. Every day, small businesses continue to experience the pain of this crisis and the pandemic. Our response has got to be bold and we have to meet the moment. So to close, it's just been such an honor to speak before so many small business owners. I come from a small business background. I represent a community of entrepreneurs and small businesses. This is an issue that is really near and dear to my heart. I'm actually the only member of Congress from Colorado on the Small Business Committee, and I chair, as the introduction stated, the Innovation and Workforce Development and Entrepreneurial Subcommittee. So I spend a lot of my time figuring out how we can grow businesses, support our small businesses in particular, create more jobs. And I look forward to working with all of you, the people with the best ideas that are working hard to do that, making sure that we get it done. So thank you very much. It was really an honor to be with you. Be safe, be well, and I will see you back in Colorado, for those of you who are joining us from Colorado, very soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Congressman Crow. We truly appreciate it. And we know you got to get back onto the floor to do some more votes. But before we go, we would love to hear from Amy one more time for you to talk about the district and the region, and let us know about the offices in the district and anything that may be going on that you would like to highlight. So back to you, Amy.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Renee. Right now, the entire team in SBA Region 8, which comprises the offices on your screen, is working so closely with our PPP lenders to encourage them to opt into the direct forgiveness process. It's one of our top priorities right now to ensure that achieving PPP forgiveness is as easy as possible for the smallest businesses in our region. I want to give a shout out to the Utah District Office. They're hosting a series of upcoming rural small business roadshows throughout the state in collaboration with SBA resource partners, their Governor's Office of Economic Development and other partners, with events in Logan and Morgan coming up in August and additional locations later this fall. To find out what exciting opportunities are taking place in your state, whether you live in Region 8 or beyond, go to your local district office calendar for upcoming events. To find it, go to sba.gov and click on Local Assistance in the top right menu. You'll see the option to search for the closest SBA district office and resource partners, and the results will provide links to their contact information on website. And so on their websites, they'll have great upcoming events posted on their small business calendars. And our resource partners also have terrific events, calendars, and upcoming events. We'd love to have all of you join us as opportunities arise and topics interest you in the coming months. And please go to our website and join us for future events. Renee, back to you. Thanks so much.
No, thank you, Amy. We want to thank everyone for joining us today. We do understand it's been a long program, and we are just very thankful and delighted for everyone joining us today. We want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris. We would like to thank the SBA Administrator Isabella Guzman. We want to thank Congressman Jason Crow. We want to thank Veronica Pucan. We want to thank Amy, Lee, and we want to thank Victor as well for hopping in. We want you all to stay tuned as well. The U.S. Small Business Administration will host the 2021 National Small Business Week Virtual Summit from September 13th through the 15th. So stay tuned to SBA.gov for more information as it becomes available. Now, this is 100% free. There's no cost to you as a small business owner. You are able to attend. There'll be great speakers, amazing information. So stay tuned and be excited for more information as it develops. And additionally, if you have any SBA related questions, please feel free to use answerdesk@sba.gov. Or if you have questions about a copy of this webinar for today, use the email address events@publicprivatestrategies.com. And with that, we have one more webinar in this series of Getting Back on Track, which is next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, which we will feature Senator Cardin, who is the chair of the Senate Small Business Committee. So we are looking forward to that. And we are looking forward to all of you. And if you would like to attend, please feel free to register. Go to the Public Private Strategies website, and you're able to register there. And with that, we thank you all so much for joining us today. And we hope you have a great weekend and see you either Monday for our next COVID Idol webinar or on Thursday. Thank you so much.